Good evening. Sorry about this. Good evening, Filament Frenzy. Good evening, Derek. Good evening, Scalder. I'm here. I'm alive. Hopefully the audio's okay. Hopefully the video's okay. I've got a hell of a lag on at the moment, so things are kind of interesting. Brit Hawks, good evening, sir. Nice to have you in the room. Yeah, had to put the headphones on. My clip mic, the battery had died. I'd obviously left it on like a muppet. So, unfortunately, good evening, Richard. Nice to have you in the room. Good evening, Kevin. Yeah, so unfortunately, I've had to put my headset on. Hopefully, the audio's okay. If there are any issues, please let me know. I didn't know I'd left the music on. Thank you, Derek. Why is it still playing the audio in the background? Okay, so something somewhere's not right. This is what happens when we don't stream for ages. Right. Hello. That could be better. Hopefully that's going to sort itself out. Too many mics. Yeah. Hopefully you're going to tell me now that I'm down to one mic. Sorry, I've got so much going on in my ears, it's unbelievable. Right, hopefully we're alright now and we're sorted. So, if there is any more issues, just let me know. I'm only copying off Nerys last night and all the issues he had with everything. He had such issues last night. Was typical. I was trying to. I'll just turn the volume right down there. I was trying to get ready for the stream today. Last night, my machine arrived yesterday, so I got all set up, all sorted. And then, lo and behold, up comes a notification. Oh, Nerys is going to open his. And I was like, ah. The missus said, oh, why didn't you do it tonight? Why didn't you go on now and do it? But, you know, these things happen. But I'd already planned to do mine this way. Basically, this evening, guys, live, all I'm going to do is, the box is actually already open, as you can see. Because I couldn't stop myself from opening it. But what we're going to do is we're going to get in the box, we're going to look at the stuff rather than just stick 4 bolts in, whack a print on it and start printing. We are going to actually take a bit longer looking at the build quality, the way things are set up, the boards that are inside it. You know me, I'm not particularly technical on what the boards are copies of and one thing or another, but it's interesting to see how they've laid things out. It's an interesting design as far as I'm concerned. They seem to have got a lot of good features involved. No auto bed leveling, and I wouldn't have thought there's possibly going to be a way of adding it, but we'll cross that bridge. Shouldn't really need it, but yeah, that's the plan. So I've got the overhead camera, which I will switch to for the main part, and then I've got a camera that you can't see yet. I'll just actually cross you over to it. We've got a close-up camera as well. So what we can do with the close-up camera is we can go to that, and then we can, when we want to look at something, we can get right down and dirty. And if it'll focus, there we go, we can get a close-up look of stuff. So that will be good if there's anything anybody particularly wants to see. And then we have just got the overhead cam, which just gives you an overhead view of what's in the box. Like I say, I've already opened it. I've already had a good look. Hopefully the audio is still coming through all right. Somebody shout at me if it isn't. Had a good look inside, sort of loosened it up a bit just to get a better idea of what's going on with it. And I've got to say, the build quality of this machine is phenomenal. It really is. I was very surprised with just how nicely it's put together. I can't give you too much background of the company. They've been around a while. I know they've been reaching out to content providers for a while for this machine. Um, they are they are all ex-staff of a well-known 3D printing company from China. They have set up on their own. I'm not going to tell you which company they are from because it's important that they want to be judged on their machine, not on where they've come from and the people they've worked for before. So although I know who they worked for, I'm not going to say. They don't want me to say. They want to be judged on the machine themselves. Um, and because of that, I think they've had some hurdles of actually getting machines out there for people to review because the big guys, as you well know, get offered machines for review over and over and over again. Evening, Dom. And if they have to cherry pick what they actually look at, unless they see something that looks interesting. They get so many people offering them machines that a lot fall by the wayside. And I think this company were having that issue. They were trying very hard to get themselves out there, but they were struggling. I got in contact with them. They said, well, would you like a machine? Yes, no problem. This has come via AliExpress, so rather than coming direct from Artillery themselves, this has gone through the process through AliExpress. So I've had the same experience that anybody will who buys one. I've stuck a link at the beginning of the chat. It's not an affiliate link because I'm not an affiliate link with AliExpress. It's just a link to their shop on AliExpress. It's £406 at the moment. That includes DHL delivery. My sale went through on Saturday, so it started shipping Monday morning, and I had it Thursday at it's about 11:30 in the morning. Which was no, I'm lying to you. I actually had it Wednesday because today's Thursday, isn't it? I got it Wednesday about 11:30 in the morning. It was supposed to be delivered today, but it actually ended up coming a day early, which was fantastic. Like I say, that was free. And it's free on the website. I'll just bang the link up again unless I've changed something on and it doesn't do it. But that should be it. That should be a link to their shop. It's 406 quid, and like I say, you may get hit for some import tax. I think it works out about £29 for the import tax. So it puts the price up a bit, but like I say, it only took 4 days to get here, or 3 days to get here, so that was really good. So what we're going to do, like I say, we'll get into the box, we'll have a look at what's in it, and we'll try and work out what's running it, whether it's going to be a good machine or not. So we'll just transport you over, beam you up, and we'll go to the overhead view. So I've taken some packing material out of it already, just so we can get a look into the box. Apart from anything else, it was a vain attempt at getting the camera to focus, because if you've just got a piece of black here, that poor little camera up there, poor little Logitech, couldn't see anything to focus on. So that wasn't a very good start. You're going to get that strip light. Look, that there is my strip light above me, which is reflecting on the bed. So we'll leave that in place. It's come incredibly well packed. Unlike Neris, or Neris should I say, I've opened my box up the right way around. He opened his upside down. I was trying to tell him last night, but he wasn't listening. So we will lift this section out. I've got to do it carefully because these ribbon cables down the bottom here look to be quite delicate, and I wouldn't want to damage them. Having watched Narice's stream last night, he's noticed a few issues, um, which we'll discuss should we find that I have the same issues with this one. So there you go. It's 300 by 300 by 400. So it's the same size as the CR10, I believe. It's got some beastie extrusions on it. You've got a 20 by 60 on here. You've got 20 by 40s everywhere else. The wiring is all done by ribbon cable. Sorry, just let me put that there for you so you got a better look. It's all done by ribbon cable. There were some suggestions that that might cause issues with current for the heat bed, but the interesting thing about it is it's a mains heat bed. So when you do order, if you do order, for goodness sake, please make sure that you order the right one, because if you order a 110, it won't be the simple matter of flicking a switch inside to make it 220. It will be the wrong heat bed, because it is all you've got inside is a relay which triggers mains power into the machine to heat the bed up. Looking at Narice's video last night, it didn't take long at all to heat that bed up. I suggest after you've finished watching me, you go and check it out, because it really was. It was an interesting unboxing. Like I say, he had some issues with his cameras. Hopefully, I won't have those issues this evening. But you never know, because it could just be that it wasn't his fault, and it could well be, like he says, that it's a problem that YouTube is having. But let's just hope we don't go down that road tonight. So, let's have a look. I've just realised I haven't got my side cutters with me for getting anything out of anywhere. So, as you can see, there's the hot end assembly. There's the front mounted fan. There's a side mounted fan there. It's a direct drive. No Bowden tubes this time. So, that will be I think that apart from the Prusa, that will be a first for me. Will be to have a direct drive machine. But it's funny because I just don't think of the Prusa as being a normal 3D printer, which is, I know it's strange, but that's just how I am. And if you've seen Tom Filament Friends' Prusas, you'll know that they're not normal, not in any way, shape or form. Point to pick up on, which I will go to the close-up cam. Let's see if we can get this to work. We'll go to close-up. And we will come down here. The issue that everybody that has received this machine so far is having is also going to be an issue on this one. Like I say, we're not putting it together, so it doesn't matter. But if you can see the belt we have here, now then if you look, where they terminate it up this end, focus, damn you, there, they've got one cable tie, and they've actually got the belt wrapped through the support the wrong way around. So because it's that way around, if there's any tension on that belt, that can slip, you see. If you fold it I'll get my finger in shot. If you fold it the other way, so teeth are to teeth, it will grip. So what Narice did was, he did that, he put two new cable ties around it, so that locked that belt in place. So that's just an issue with whoever they have building the machines. Has just got that slightly misunderstood, clearly. 17 watching, only 3 likes. Come on, Richard, get them sorted out. Stepper motors, if you need any information off those, let's see if I can get the camera swapped over for you. Just bear with me. There we go. So that's the stepper motors there. Like I say, I will show you this little issue. There we go, right there. That belt is the wrong way through that support. It should be tooth to tooth rather than back to back. So that doesn't afford it any tension whatsoever. So that will be altered. Hot end is a Titan copy. At least I think it's a Titan copy. I'm not going to strip it right down to check. As you can see, it's been tested. We've got some orangey red filament in there. That little thing there, that is a 3-colour LED. Now, oh, focus. Come on, darn you. Do I have to go in for extreme close-up? There we go. That is set in such a way that it goes something like red when it's heating up and the hot end is hot, green when it's printing, and blue when it's finished. It's something like that, but you can set it up, you can customize it. You can even have it as a white light by mixing the 3 colors together. So it does allow a little light on the piece of work as you're printing, so maybe that'll help you see if you've got a nice level bed when it's printing out. The nozzle is 3D printed. It's not particularly well printed. It's not the best quality I've seen. I know Jimmy Shaw didn't have one on his, so he had to print his own. They sent him the STL file, printed his own. He put a little bit of glue in to hold it in place. That appears to have some kind of glue in it as well. So they've listened to Jimmy and they've glued that into there. Fan on the side. Now, from listening to Nerys last night, it was a fairly quiet fan. He said there was a high-pitched whistle. We'll wait and see. We shall wait and see. So everything's got like breakout boards to go from ribbon cables, back to whatever you know the connections for the stepper motors or whatever. So you've got a little breakout board there, then you've got a really short cable that runs from there to go into the stepper motor there. I'll get that edge off there and we will have a look at what's under this cover here. We'll get the Allen keys out and we'll have a look. So we'll just transfer you back to the overhead for a second, like so, and we'll just get my Allen keys out. I'll tell you what I can do. Tom, if you're still watching, haha, you see, you made me buy that. You made me buy it. Oh, I got the right one straight away. So that's that one out. And that's that one out. So that part there is also 3D printed. That cowling, cover, whatever you wish to call it. So you can see the stepper motor now for the extruder, and I will just do another transition back to the close-up cam because you will see they have got what they call, I believe, a pancake stepper motor. So that will keep the weight down on the gantry. I mean, having said that, it's a 20 by 60 gantry, so it's going to be fairly sturdy, I would have thought. You can see another breakout board there, which basically takes the ribbon cable, and then you've got the small bits there for the thermistor that go into the board. So it's fairly straightforward, which is good. I do like these anodized fittings. Good evening, Canadian Maker. Thank you very much for joining. I do like these anodized metal fittings. Really nice, really good quality. Nicely done. You know, you see some that, you know, are a bit sort of ropey. Oh, issues and issues. Bit of fluff on there, nothing more. On the back, let's have a look at the back. So we'll go back to the overhead for a second. So on the back, as you can see, it's dual lead screw, dual stepper motors, but they've also got this arrangement at the top where you have two cogs and a belt in between. Now this is ideally to make sure that the two sides go up at the same rate. Whether it's necessary or not, the jury's out on this one. Some people say yes, it's a good idea. Other people say it can cause issues. This is my first machine that's got this setup with this band at the top. So I will just play it by ear. We'll just, we'll print with it. We'll do some stuff with it. We'll see how it works out. If it starts to become an issue with it binding or getting out a level on the gantry, then we can just take the belt off. The other thing is that these bearings at the top are absolutely solidly fixed. There's no play in them. I know the bearings on the G-Tech machines and on some of the Creality machines, I seem to remember, had a sort of the ability for that to wobble backwards and forwards. So it took any wobble out of the Z-rod. But I would think, as Nerisse said last night, this is sturdy enough of a machine that you're not going to suffer from that. It's going to be, it just feels, they do right being artillery. I tell you, absolutely, it's bomb-proof. Quite literally bomb-proof. Sensor-wise, they are using... now then, somebody will be able to tell me the official name for it. But they work... they're not... They're capacitive. Are they capacitive switches? Basically, it's not a physical switch. It's a sensor, and it senses when the metal of the this section here actually gets to the bottom, and it senses it. Now there is only one. There's one on one side, and Nerisse was saying it may be an idea if they had two on, because then it would do away with the need for the belt at the top, because they could sense when both sides were level, which would always keep that gantry straight, as it would level every time it came to the bottom, which sounds sensible. But like I say, it is built like I don't know what. At the top, we have single plug. That is for the filament sensor that sits on the spool holder, which is a metal spool holder with bearings. So that's pretty much an overview of the top section. Now, if there's anything anybody would like a closer look at, just bang it in there for me before we get on to the next bit. Carriage wise, I don't know where my cutters are. I've got a massive pair of pliers down here, but I seriously think that's going to be overkill. But we'll have to use them if I can get them in. They're too big. Where's my knife? Is my knife going to be too flexible? So organised. This is what happens when you don't do anything for ages. It just, everything goes to pot. It took me forever to set up Streamlabs. Absolutely forever. And the reason behind that is I've been a bit of a naughty boy. And I've started looking at Twitch. Not to go over there and do everything on there. But I thought maybe a situation like this where I've got a new machine, I might set it doing a print on Twitch and just leave it running, so people can bob in and see how the print's going on. It takes up, oh mind you, I'll tell you a little story in a minute. It takes up very little processor power just to leave it running. Now that is tight. Can you see that? I don't know whether you can see that. Oh, you won't be able to see that because I've got you on the wrong camera. Let me just swap you to the other camera. Close-up cam. Transition. There we go. Let me just move that over there and down there. We've got a flat spot there. I don't know whether you can physically see that, but that is a flat spot. And there's another one there. So one of these wheels has got a flat spot on it, which is genuinely just because it's been sat in transport. But that bottom wheel, that one down there, is way, way, way too tight. That will have the nut on it. It's got the eccentric nut on. So if we loosen that up, that will hopefully take the flat spot off that bottom wheel, because at the moment that is like going over a sleeping policeman. But there are some spares, which I shall get to now. Seeing as nobody's screamed that they want to see anything else in close-up, I'll just do a quick... Yeah, that's the stepper motors. You see how nice that blue anodized finish is on the fittings. Everything's done very nicely. 99% of the nuts are nylon lock nuts, so you shouldn't have any issues with anything rattling loose in transit. And if they've tightened everything up as much as that, you won't have had anything rattle loose in transit. That runs quite smoothly. That's quite nice. Yeah, we should be good with that. So I'm going to bob this on the floor. I'll bob this down here out of the way. And we'll have a look at what else is in the box. So I'll just whack you back over to the overhead again. Sorry if anybody's getting seasick from all these transitions. But you know, it's just how it is. Nice of you, 17 of you that are here. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I wasn't expecting to see that many people, to be honest with you. Sorry, just having a slip of my coffee. That must have sounded terrible to you. So, UK plug. Good guys, well done. You know, right plug. Appears to be fused. It has a kite mark on it as well. So it says 13 amp. And it does have a kite mark on, so that might be a fake kite mark. You don't know, do you? It's difficult to tell these days, but UK lead, well done. That's always good. Possibly one of the shortest USB cables I think I've ever seen. They don't want me to get far away from the computer with that, do they? What else have we got in this? But this is the spool holder. So it's got bearings on it, there and there, and then you've got a filament sensor there, which is on like a ball and socket fitting. Nerys was saying last night he doesn't like these particularly because you have different widths of spool, and if you put one of the different spools in, you then have to slightly loosen off these Allen bolts and T-nuts to either slide the two halves apart or closer together. I don't think it's going to cause me an issue. If it does, we'll look at going down, you know, changing things a bit. I have just noticed, sorry, that people can't read. People can't read the chat box because it's off the side of the screen. So let's bring it over there. So if somebody else bangs something into chat now, you might find that the chat box works a little better. I do apologise. Like I say, it's not really been set up for such a long time. So yeah, spool holder, quite nice. I'm going to be annoying now. Close-up cam. So I'll just do a close-up on that. So that's your filament sensor. As you can see, it's like a cast aluminium bracket with a ball in. So you've got plenty of movement on it like that. I'm guessing it's not an optical. I guess there's just a switch in there. So the filament will just run through it. I don't really use filament sensors, to be honest with you. I don't seem to don't ever get myself in a situation that I think I'm going to run out of filament, or I try not to. Point of order, I have been in the wee bag. Oh, sorry, I've got to do it that way up, haven't I? I have been in the wee bag already because I wanted to see what was in it myself. In it, there is a spare ribbon cable. Now, whether that means they think it's not going to last long, so they've put a spare in. But there's a spare ribbon cable. There is some spare fabric tape. This helps with your cable management, which is already very good, but it will help with it even more. There is a spare RGB LED on that little board. Again, it does make you wonder if they think it's going to fail. Nerys was saying last night that he thinks they may have put it in because it's quite close to the hot end. So it may be the situation that they're worried that it may fail over time. So they've got a spare one in there. We have some, I'm going to call them tyres. They're spare wheels. So if you've got one like mine that's over tightened and it's got a flat spot, pop the bearings out, pop the bearings into there, and we're good to go. Then we've got the obligatory spanner and janky little Allen keys of no real use to man the beast. And the 4 bolts with spring washers which connect the bed to the top. And I've got a horrible feeling if I leave that laid about too long, that's going to become my daughter's pencil case. I can see me losing that, I really can. So we'll bob all that stuff back in there. Don't think there's anything else in there. No, got everything out. Right, I'll get down to the nitty gritty bit in a minute. Are we still watching? Oh, 18 watching, my goodness, that's almost a record for me. Don't quite know what's going on. Right, so we'll get down to the main part. I'd just like to say at this point, by the way, guys, I'd like to say a big thank you to Tracy at Artillery 3D. She is the lady I've been speaking to. She's been incredibly helpful. Really nice girl, really knowledgeable. And yeah, she's been a pleasure to deal with. Nothing's been too much trouble. I will say at this point, the usual thing that we have to do, this quotey thing. I haven't paid for this machine. This has been sent to me for review purposes. I haven't been charged a penny. I do not have to return the machine when I finish reviewing it. It is mine to keep. I haven't been coerced into saying anything specific about the machine. I don't have to give it a good review if I don't think it's a good machine. They want my honest opinion, and they wanted it to get out to Europe. So they've sent a couple to America, and they've sent one to me because they wanted to get into the European market, and they sort of decided that maybe I was a good choice, which was very nice of them. I don't know whether it was a good choice, but only time will tell. So this, oh God, this is a lump. This is such a lump. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to throw the box away. I am going to excuse me while I manhandle myself. So what do we think of it so far, guys? Do we think it looks all right? Like I say, it is £406. If you go onto AliExpress and you search for 3D printers and you put in a minimum amount of £400, you can see it's comparable, I would say probably price-wise, with the CR10S or the CR10S Pro, maybe. It's a cracking lump of metal, I'll tell you that for nothing. So, here we go. So it's a glass bed. I'm going to go to the close-up cam for all of this because I think this is quite important that you see this. There is, right, there we go, close-up cam. We'll do a quick transition across. I have actually noticed that I haven't put any of the logos or anything on there, which was a bit stupid of me. Not to worry. Yeah, to be honest with you, Scalder, it is incredibly solid. It's a massive piece of kit. It really is a massive piece of kit. So glass bed, close-up cam, come in. You have to excuse all the G-Tech machines and all the mess and everything else we have here. So, glass bed, label on. What does label say? You can't see because there's too much light coming off the razor. There we go, 220 volt. So there we go, 220 volt. So mains bed. Okay, like I said. Next thing, we'll just get down here. Insulated. So you've got glass at the top. Then you've got the heat bed there, which is one of those rubbery what's it ones. You see, I know all the technical terms, don't I? Below that is some foam, and then below that is some foil to keep keep it insulated. So that's a cracking thing, is that? I'm guessing probably under the glass is I was going to say it's a piece of aluminium, but I don't think it is. I think that is all glass. That's a milled edge on the glass. So that's a decent bit of construction. Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's about 25% off at the moment, I think, but I am hoping if this all goes well this evening, I would like to try and get a bit of a discount code off them to pass on to you guys, which I will put in the description for this video if it comes about. Like I say, I'm not affiliated through AliExpress, so I'm not going to make out any money or any points or anything out of the actual any sales that you do. They are available on eBay as well, I've heard, but that could just be in America. Have I tried the new nozzle on the AM20? I haven't. I haven't at all. I believe it's a vast improvement from what I've been reading. But I'll be honest with you, I have been so busy at work, and one thing and another. I've been very remiss about my 3D printing, apart from other things I've been very remiss on, but things have fallen by the wayside a bit, and this is hopefully the beginning of maybe getting on a bit more and doing a bit more. But anyway, I digress. Let's have a look underneath here. Now, again, an issue that was brought up last night. Very small. Very small. I'm going to do the knob gag again. Everybody that's watched my other videos about how important big knobs are. But they are. And unfortunately on here we've got small ones. Nareesh tried to swap his out last night, but unfortunately the bolt size was different, so it's time for somebody to print me or designer, or I suppose I could try myself, design a 3D printed wheel that you would sit at the top down, so it would inset over there and make the wheel bigger, so then it's easier to turn. Wheels wise, you can see there are 6. They are in line, I think, pretty much either side. They're slightly offset. You can see, if I hold that perfectly straight, you can see the nuts at the rear are slightly offset to the nuts at this side. This side has the eccentric nuts on, the other side doesn't, but that's going to make for a much more, I was going to say stable bed, but it's just going to run through it. It's going to be easier to get leveled, sorted, smooth. Again, that is awfully tight. Awfully tight. I think, to be honest with you, they've probably tightened these things down so there's less chance of things moving when they're being shipped over here. But it does mean you can get flat spots on your wheels. But then again, they've put spare wheels in, so that solves that issue, doesn't it? The main extrusion is another 60 by 20, and the belt runs up the side rather than running up the middle. And then if we go around to the back, you see there's the belt at that end there. There's your end stop sensor right there. The heat bed itself, cabling wise, I've got some plastic in the way which I won't take off at the moment. There is no strain relief, but because it's one of these silicon beds, squeeze that bit back up, because it's a silicon bed, I don't think we're going to have any major issues. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate that, mate. Yeah, because it's I don't think we're going to need a support on that for that cable. I think that's going to be, because it's one of these silicon beds, I think we're going to be alright with that. I think that'll work okay. So on this side here, this is where you put your upright on this side. There's your Z end stop sensor, and there is your Z stepper motor cable. As we run down this side, fairly plain and boring until you get to there, where you've got the USB port there. Now that, I believe, is for, that goes into the board that drives, that's the main board. Got to get this right in my head. This is the main board. The board the other side is the one that drives the LCD, because it's a touchscreen LCD. So we'll have a quick look at that. Just bear with me 2 ticks while I pick it up, because it's heavy. And I'll turn it around. It's not the biggest touchscreen in the world. See, no massive bit of writing across the front. No massive great emblazoned bit going artillery. It's just got the name on the bed. There's absolutely nothing on the case at all. So yeah, nice little touchscreen. I am not peeling that off today. You're going to have to go without your peeling porn or whatever it is you wish to call it. So we come down this side. There's the main fan for under here. You've got a micro SD card slot, and you've also got a USB slot, so you can either stick a USB stick in and print from that, or you can print from a micro SD card. There is an awful lot of space around there. That's a cavern. That I can see being an issue if you're trying to use micro SD cards. I can see you dropping that straight down that hole there. Sorry about my finger. That's not what it looks like. That's wood stain. Yeah, I can see there's a good chance of you losing your SD card down there. So again, might be a little design to print just a little cowling that will sit into there, cover that up, and make it just a little bit less likely that you're going to have rattly micro SD cards inside the box. Alright, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for watching. We will speak again soon, I'm sure. So we'll whiz up this side here, and we will see you've got the ribbon cable there. We have got whatever that one is. That's the other one for the Z stepper, and a little plug there, which I'm not sure what it's for yet because I've not looked at the description. And then we've got this weird thing. This might be a competition question. We have a 3D printed thing there. Right? Now I know that there is a hole cut in there and that's blocking the hole. But why was there a hole there? I'm wondering if it was meant to be something else and they've changed their mind and they've printed that to cover it up. I don't know. It could be a design thing. I don't know. So what we're going to do now is Hey Pete, good evening. Good to have you. What we will do now is, apart from you can see out now. Look, you can see out. Let's get me off that one. We'll transition back to me if I can get my mouse onto the right screen. There we go. Sorry. Good evening, everybody. I'm in such a mess this evening that I've had to put a jumper on to hide the fact I'm still in my work gear. It's awful. So what we'll do now is we will turn the printer over. We will take the bottom off it, and we'll have a look at what's inside. But we won't just go, oh, this is this, this is this, this is this. We'll look for names. We'll look for. Oh my goodness! I've just realised watching the video back, the smears that you can see on the window are dog paw prints from the puppy. It's not quite so much of a puppy anymore, but yeah, she does like to come and tell me when she's about. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll turn this box upside. We'll turn the machine upside down. We'll take the bottom off it, and we'll actually take a good look at what's inside this baby, what makes her run. Now I believe it's got a ramps board in it. I believe it's quite similar to a TiVo flash board. I have reason to believe. Let's bang you on the overhead for a second. There we go, got you on the overhead. I will just quickly get that side folded down like that, and then I will put you back. Yeah, I believe it's a copy. Let's not say a copy. It's a facsimile. That's a big word. Yeah, it's a copy of the board, or it's a similar board, or it's the same board as is in the TiVo Flash. Which means it's going to be a fairly good machine. Now, again, Nerys last night had his fire up and running. Sounded nice and quiet. It has got stepper drivers on it which do quieten it down. I believe they're not TMCs. I believe, again, they are TMC clones or similar to, or whatever you want to call it. They are just, they're much the same as everything else. Out with the magic wand! I hear you scream. So out with the magic wand we are. Tom, if you're still watching, I'm using it. In fact, look, Tom, we'll do this. Hey! If anybody watching has no idea what I'm talking about at the moment, Tom Filament Frenzy was asked on Twitter what was his best tool that he used in 3D printing. And he explained about this little screwdriver, which is called a wow stick. And they've had 2 or 3 incarnations since they first came out. The first ones used to have to stick batteries in the bottom. Now they are USB rechargeable. They come with all sorts of attachments, 3 lots of different lots of attachments, so a lot of stuff. And it's a fantastic little piece of kit. It's actually built, I think, for taking consoles apart, or that kind of thing. Phones, I think that's its main design ethos, but works terribly well for 3D printing. You even get this little magnetic thing which is flexible, which means you don't lose your screws, so that's really good. So yeah, Tom was waxing lyrical about it, so I thought to myself, I'll have one of those. It was Christmas, I had a bit of money, so I bought one. So now then, Jordan, I'm guessing, I have a feeling I saw you actually last night on Nerys' stream. It's entirely possible. Void sticker. Nerys says, can't do that. You can't have a void sticker on this. I'm not bothered. Right, there we go. we go. Have one on my Amazon wish list to grab when I can. Tell you what, Skolder, they are really, really good. It comes with a little case which is magnetic, so the two halves stick together. And unfortunately, it's got. Guess what that is? You also get. I'm digressing now, aren't I? People have come to look at this machine, and I'm talking about something completely different. They come in these tubes like that, so there's all sorts of different bits in there. You get a case opening tool, or as Big Clive would call it, a spudger. And you also get like a rubber sucker for pulling screens off stuff, whether it's phones or whatever. So, bottom up. So you've got the frame there, which is the actual frame of the printer itself, which is a 40 by 40 and a 40 by 40 and a 40 by 20 and a 40 by 20. So again, good, solid, stiff frame. You've got the control board here, which is the control board for the LCD, which has also got the USB and the micro SD card slot on it. And then attached to that, you've got a ribbon cable that comes over to this board here, which has got that USB port there for connecting to your computer. All your cabling there. There's your drivers. There's 5 drivers there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a driver for each of the Z motors. So there's that one there that's a Z motor, and that one there that's a C motor. So they've got a driver each. There is nothing written on there that I can see, but I did see online a photograph from the promotional material, and that actually did have something written on it, and I did look it up, and it is it's somebody doing their own version of TMCs, I believe. But from listening to Narice's machine print last night, nice and quiet. Let's get the close-up camera on. Let's get in there and have a look. What's it called again? What, the screwdriver? The screwdriver, Richard, is a wow stick. W-O-W-S-T-I-C-K. A wow stick. Keep calling it a wizard stick for some reason, but that's something totally different, isn't it? So we'll go to the close-up cam again. We'll have a good old transition. So, Matt Jake from State Farm. Hi, great to have you here. Another Matt in the room. So, yeah, that's the board that controls the LCD touchscreen. And all it has written on it, it's got a bit, I think this light's going to be, let's turn the light, oh, there we go. We lose quality when we turn the light off on this Razer webcam, but you can see it says artillery on it there, and then at the other side it's just got some obscure letters. There we go, MMBX something something something. So if anybody wants to try and find that, it's actually got, ooh, let me see if I can get you around to see it. It's actually got a power jack there, look, inside, but clearly it takes power from the power supply. But you can power it from there as well. So that's that board, which clearly is a proprietary board that they've built themselves, or they've had built for them. So that's quite cool. Mats are the best. You're absolutely right, mate. Beer mats are the best. Come over to this side. So this is the board that everybody says is a copy of something else, of somewhere else. The only thing that's written on there, we've got a V1 written there, you see, so it's a version 1 board. But that to me looks like a very, very close copy, or very similar to what is in the TiVo Flash. I would say that's as close as you'll get to being the same board. Somebody will tell me, I'm sure, in the chat what it is. Georgian, cheers dude, thanks for joining, do appreciate it, really do appreciate it. You won't believe how great I feel the fact that there's 18 people in the room at the moment. Then we have this little board here. Let me zoom out again a bit. Come on, auto white balance. My goodness, come on, get some of that shine off. So this board, basically, what this does is this takes these standard cables, comes to here, and then they become ribbon cables on the other side. So it's just a little breakout board that does that. Everything, all these plugs are glued in with hot glue. So there's no chance of those coming out in transit, which is a good move. A good move. Another stepper motor. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Stepper motor there at the back. There's your power switch there. As you can see, everything's really nicely crimped. The layout of the cables is really rather nicely done. I'll show you these because that one slipped. Where they go through the extrusions, they've done, you possibly can't see, but they've done a real nice job on those. There's no sharp edges. And then they've slid these little bits of metal over the top to stop the cables from coming out. I mean, those, they do, I'll show you on this one, they do actually slide from side to side. So there is a bit of movement with them. But I still think it's a very clever idea. And if you look, let me show you, where it actually goes through, they put some shrink wrap around it as well to afford it some extra protection. But that is a really nice, clean, well cut extrusion is that. There's no hacking at it with a hacksaw like we've seen on other machines that have tried to sort of cut corners. It's really nicely done. That little baby there, we'll turn that around. So that's your solid state relay. So all that does is that provides the mains voltage that goes to the bed, which is switched off probably off the 12 volt of the power, no, 24 volt of the power supply, because it is a 24 volt power supply. The power supply make, this company exists because I've looked them up. Sanlan is the name. There we go. And you can't see what it says there because the cabling is in the way, so we'll pull that up. So it's a Sanlan S224. So it is 24 volts at 8 amps. Now you might think 8 amps and no fan in it. Well, there doesn't need to be a fan in it, does there? Because the only thing it's heating up is the heater cartridge in the hot end, because of course the bed's main. So it doesn't need to have a fan in it. It is switchable. I don't think you're going to be able to see this, but in there, inside, there is a switch between 110 and 240. But like I say, you don't want to be flicking that, because if you're on the wrong voltage on that, you've got the wrong voltage bed. So if you're in the US and you've got a UK bed, it's going to take forever to heat up. You'd be better off lighting a fire underneath it. And if you got it the other way around, well, you've just said goodbye to all your money, basically. Then there's the one little fan, which is there, which just, so you've got a grill this side, so that's bringing cool air in over the top of that board, through the front of the case, over the top of that board, and then that fan there blows it out the other side. So that's what the underside looks like. And look, this is that bit of 3D printed stuff I was talking about. There it is, look. So there's a square hole there. Perfectly square, perfectly milled hole, which has got this bit of printed stuff glued on it. Glue? It's only glue. So, like I say, I don't know what that was there for. Whether they had an idea to do something that they then didn't do, I honestly don't know. Maybe the case is used for more than one design of their machines, like an earlier version, and they've repurposed it. I don't know. It's a kind of 2020 extrusion hole. So I did have a thought that maybe they had a 2020 extrusion coming out of it, which then turned into some kind of spool holder, maybe. That was my only thought, was a vertical a vertical piece that came out the top, and then your spool holder stuck on that somehow, and then they decided to go for one on the top. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but it makes me wonder why it's there. So we'll go off shaky cam. Off shaky cam, we'll go back onto mini cam like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I say, I will not be setting it up this evening. I will not be printing with it this evening. It will get put back together. In fact, I'll put it back together while I'm talking to you. It'll be put back together and it will sit until such a time, possibly this weekend, when I have such time as I can get it going and get it going properly. I'm not going to rush it. It comes the the USB stick that it comes with has one file on it. Apart from the instructions, it has one file on it for printing, which is a little it's a little box basically with the logo on. If you want to see it, if you go onto Narice's Twitter, he posted pictures of some stuff he'd printed this morning. But it's nothing to write home about. But they have sent me a couple of files of a benchy boat, one at 0.2 and one at 0.08. So we are going to have to look into that and just see exactly what's going on. We should get those, because what I intend to do, I don't know whether it's Cura they're using or Repetier Host. Hang on. We shall have a look, because believe it or not, I have the installation manual and the slicer preparation manual, which are basically just fold out bits of paper. I mean, it's all very well written. It's all very easy to understand. So they're using slicer, and they have a set of slicer settings on that USB stick as well, which you import into Slicer, which gives you all the settings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this G code that they've sent me for the Benchy. I'm going to run that into S3D so it can pull all the information back from that. So that will hopefully mean I have an S3D profile, which will mean my prints will look glorious. I am going to attempt to print with all sorts of filaments. We'll stick some Prussiament through it. It would be rude not to. We will stick some filamentum through it as well, and I've also got some ESON stuff floating about, so we'll stick some of that through it. Then we'll start trying a bit of flexible filaments, that kind of thing. We're going to do quite a few prints with this. Like I say, if you want to see it running, you want to see somebody actually build it, go and look at Narice's video. There's also another guy that's done, off the top of my head I can't remember his name, but he'd done it the day before Narice. He's done a very nice overview. I'll put a link in the description when this is uploaded. He's put a very nice video up of lots of close-up shots of stuff. It's a good video to watch anyway. So that's why I decided not to bother doing that, because it's been done to death. Well, it's not been done to death. I mean, 3 people have done it now. But you know what I mean. Why do another one? So that's why I thought I'd go down the route I've gone down this evening. I'm excited by it, I'll be honest with you. I think this is going to be a cracking machine. And with direct drive, it's going to be interesting for me. Because like I say, I've got the Prusa, but I don't see the Prusa as, I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but I don't see the Prusa as a normal 3D printer. As daft as it sounds, the Prusa to me is just a Prusa, and it's a thing of, well, it's a thing of beauty, but it's a thing of its own. It doesn't feel like it's a normal machine to me, but that's just maybe me. Oh, Richard, you're doing a sterling job. You really are. You deserve a prize. You can have the empty cardboard box when I finished. Just get my screw in here. So this will be printer number 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually counting them. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This will be printer number 11 or 12. There is another printer in the room that nobody has seen yet, which is sat over there. I have an Anycubic Photon, which is a resin printer. I'm sure you're all aware of that. And I've been trying to get my head around it. I have had some success. Spent a fortune on resin. Again, money at Christmas. Derek and Richard will know what I'm talking about. Had some money at Christmas. I actually had some Amazon gift cards over Christmas, so I went on Amazon and bought it. I've had some success. I say some because I used the resin that came with it, and it worked an absolute treat. Worked really well. Got some good prints out. I've just dropped that screw now. Got some good prints out of it. Everything was going fine. Bought some other filaments from other manufacturers. Couldn't get it dialed in. Couldn't get a print out of it. Just, it was always sticking to the bottom of the tank rather than sticking to the build plate. I was getting annoyed with it. And then Anycubic had a flash sale on Amazon just after Christmas, and a litre bottle was about 36 quid or something like that. So I bought another one of theirs. I bought an Anycubic Grey. Put that in, stuck a print through it, a print that had failed several times on several other, with the 2 other resins that I bought, and it printed straight away. So I think the moral of the story is, at the moment, that I stick with Anycubic resin until I have more of an idea what I'm doing. It's a very interesting machine. I've got a few bits and pieces about which I'll show you in a minute. But again, at the moment, I'm not having any time to do anything. Work is just taking over, unfortunately. It's just busy, 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 busy. Not all given to me as reviews. 616 Drones. I wish you had a first name that would make it easier to talk to you, but there we go. I shall go through them for you, and I'll tell you what's what with them. Starting at the left-hand side of the room here, I've got a G-Tech AM20, which was a review machine. Next to that, I have a G-Tech A10, which is a review machine. Next to that, there's a habit forming here, isn't there? Next to that, there is a G-Tech A10M, which is also a review machine. And then next to that, I have a G-Tech A30, which I bought at a discounted price. Then in front of me here, I have my Prusa i3 Mark III, which I bought with my own money. It's got the MMU2 on top of it. Like Country, I've had some issues with the MMU2, but I have had it working. I have done some multicolour prints. In fact, we're going to do a transition thing again. We're going to go to the close-up cam, and we're going to do that. So that's my spools for the MMU2, which sit on the wall. That was a spool holder thing off Thingiverse. The MMU2 is on the top there, and there's my Prusa. I've had some successful prints with it. Some more successful than others, but I got a multicolour benchy out of it. Didn't work too badly at all. These things, which for ages nobody could work out what they were, which are actually printed with the waste rather than doing a print block. You can actually make these things with the waste that you use when you change colour, and they're actually for Allen keys. Basically, they're little little handles that you stick your Allen keys into, and then gives you a good grip handle. So yeah, that works. But I mean, I love my Prusa. I love my Prusa for reasons like this. I'll stick it on the bed there. Right, whether you can see that. That was printed on my Prusa. That, to me, is a thing of absolute beauty. Yes, that is Prusa that I printed it with. Why would I print it with anything else? But it has come out absolutely gloriously as that model. I am really, really pleased with that. Derek, stop touting for business. So yeah, my G-Techs are all over that side of the room. And then this side of the room, I have two Ender 3s, both of which I bought, but I got a discount on both of them, so they were decidedly cheap. Next, between those two, I have a CR10, which I bought myself, but it's not a standard CR10. Let me just move that out of the way. That has got a hot end kit. You can all see what that is. That's an E3D V6 copy done by Creality, which they produced and then took off the market within about 20 minutes because they actually put E3D in the description for it, and the world went mad. So they withdrew it from sale, and I've not seen it back on sale since. But I got mine sent out, so I was quite pleased with that. 616 drones. No, there was a shed loads of support on that. That figure of the lady with the ball, shed loads of supports, but it took an awful lot of cleaning up. But fantastic, really. So yeah, there's the Ender 3. Then I've got a couple of, well, I've got a BQ Magician, which is there, and then I have my Anycubic Photon in the corner. So that's pretty much my machines. Lots and lots of filament. Lots and lots of filament, like everybody has lots and lots of filament. Big spanner hands. That was printed on the G-Tech A30 was that spanner hands. Low poly Alsatian. We have my logo. People do maker coins. Yeah, maker coins. See, it's got. Oh, you can't really see that. It's got my ugly mug on the side. Yeah, you don't do little maker coins. This is one thing that was printed on the Anycubic. I'll have to apologise for the state of my hands. Like I say, I'm a worker, not a shirker. So that was printed on the Anycubic. That says, you can read that, it says Anycubic there, and then the one that goes the other way there says Photon, and that's printed inside the cage, and that prints without support, so it prints that way up like that, and yeah, so I'm quite impressed with that. So yeah, that's it. Like I say, what we're going to do with this is we are going to I'm going to build it, I'm going to play with it, and I will, if you would like, if there's a wish by anybody, if there is a need by anybody, I will set up on my Twitch stream. Excuse me, I'll just bang you on like that. I'll set up on my Twitch stream the ability to watch this machine printing. So if you want to see it in action, you can just, log on to Twitch and have a look at it and see it. Like I say, for a while I had some issues with my PC before Christmas. I was having real trouble with streams, and I was using an awful lot of processor power. Well, I whipped the processor out, I bought another one second hand, and I am now running, well, what have I got on? I've got 3 cameras on, and I'm streaming. I've had absolutely no frames dropped. I'm only streaming at 30 frames a second, but I'm only using 17.1% of my CPU, whereas before I was using 80 or 90%. So because of that, I don't mind leaving it running, but I'd rather do it, rather than do it on my YouTube channel, which is more about unboxings and lookings at and the such. I'd rather do it on the Twitch channel and just leave it up and running so people can see it go. My initial impressions of this machine, I'm sure you can guess by now, my initial impressions of this machine is it's cracking. It does have power resume functionality, allegedly, which we will look into. I don't know quite whether it does it the way that it writes to the SD card all the time, which people say wears the SD cards out quickly. I don't know. We'll look into that. If you would like any more videos on this, if you leave a comment in this video as to what you would like to see, I will happily do another video for you. I will probably do one of the LCD touchscreen and the interface and let you have a look at that, and we'll try and set some cameras up in such a way that you can see the screen nicely without any reflections, and you can also see that the machine does. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's looking like it's going to be a good machine. The only issue is I am going to have to move something to make room for it. What processor do I run? Yes, it is you see, you've put in me now. Hang on, just bear with me. I will look it up. What I actually bought. Where did I buy it from? I got it from CEX. Is where I got it from. So I shall log into my CEX, and if it cleverly works, I should be able to tell you what it was and what it cost me. Okay, so I'm in my account now, so I need to go to no active orders. You can tell I don't use my CEX account very often, do you? Don't tell me what I've bought. How ridiculous is that? It's got order tracking and a load of management stuff. But if you go into order tracking, there we go, completed orders, 1, right. So click on the order. Right, so it was an Intel Core 7 i770, which was the biggest one I could get for the board that's in my machine. There was no point getting the 770K because my board isn't overclockable. So the 770 was the best I could do, but the previous CPU that was in was this one that I have in this little bag here. It was an i5 6500, so it was quite a big jump. So it's made a massive difference to the processing power. I've got a fairly good graphics card in here. I've got a 1080 in it, so graphics wise I haven't got an issue. But the processor power was lacking, so I got that. I paid 160 quid, I think it was, for it second hand, which I thought was nice. And yeah, it runs like an absolute beast now. You'll take the Mark III off me. Cheers, Richard. Yeah, to help with the space. So, you don't want one of the Enders then, or the CR10 with the weirdy woo hot end on it. No, you'll just take the Prusa. Everybody would take the Prusa. But no, I'm really looking forward to this machine. First impressions, build quality, cracking build quality. Nicely put together, nicely designed, well packaged, lovely people, very friendly, very helpful. I'm just going to have a drink. People that watch me a lot know that I always have a drink when I am streaming. It's an ongoing joke about me drinking beer while streaming. Well, I'm being good, and tonight we are just done Diet Cherry Coke. I'm only drinking at weekends because I put so much weight on over Christmas it wasn't funny. So we're having a bit of a dry-ish January. Amount of RAM, I have got 16 gig. You see, I knew that. Yeah, I've got four gig chips in it. So I'm running 16 gig. So it works really well. It's ideal for what I'm doing here. It works really well. Slicing. Slicing when I put the new CPU in, unbelievably quick. The only thing that slows it up now is actually sticking it on a micro SD card or whatever. You know, it just does. The actual processing time is ridiculous when it's rendering stuff. It's so quick. Derek will take the ender. Derek, haven't you got enough enders? Come on, play the white man. Haven't you got? Have you taken that deal up, Derek? The one you were telling me about the other day. Have you gone for it? You don't have to tell anybody what it is. You just tell me if you've done it or not. 32 gig would be better. Yes, it would, Dom. You're absolutely right. But this works. And until it stops working, this will do. So yeah, that's where we are with this. I'm right looking forward to it. And I really, really thank Artillery for everything they've done, for putting their faith in me to give people a look at their new machine. I'll just put that back in there. I do suggest you go and look at it, look at the specs online. If you are interested in buying one, excuse me, if you are interested in buying one, and you do want to get one, if there's anything you want to ask me to check or look at before you purchase it, fine, hit me up. There's a, excuse me, you see that's the problem with having fizzy drinks. You can hit me up in the description. I don't think they're available on GearBest yet, drones. If they become available, again, hit me up because I will try and sort you out a better deal on them. Because they are, like I said, they're very nice people, and I will do my best to try and get you out a decent price. But like I say, if anybody wants any more information about the machine before they pull the trigger, let me know. If you do buy through AliExpress, do buy it from the link in the description, which is the one I will bang up again now, because that is their official shop. And if you put in the comments that you saw my video or you watched my live stream, just bang my name in it, put the name of my YouTube channel in. That gets back to them. That lets them know that sending me this machine has been worthwhile for them. It gives them faith in me and in YouTube providers like me that what we do is good for them. Because again, like G-Tech, they are a company that have taken a big leap of faith, because I haven't got tens of thousands of viewers. You know, I've got just over 2,100 subscribers. I mean, my big videos do get 2,000 or 3,000 views, but I'm not one of the big boys. So for them to turn around and do this for me, I see it as a great leap of faith on their part, and I have massive respect for them for that. And it also helps you guys because I can get discounts on stuff and I can help you out with questions, like I say, before you purchase stuff. And it also means that I get another printer. You know, it's all good. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Carbon in the Coke, yeah, absolutely. But I have to drink something. I really do. But I'm diabetic, so I can't have lots of sweets and stuff. So nice fizzy drinks always help. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Don, about having the money to get more printers. I am incredibly lucky that I am in the situation I am in. Because if it was about buying the printers myself, I would have probably two. But I've been blessed, possibly with the gift of the gab, with cheekiness, whatever you wish to call it, that you know, people want to send me things to try and showcase. I mean, as I'm sure you're all aware, it's not just about the videos. I go on the G-Tech Facebook groups and I help support people If there are issues with stuff that G-Tech are having, they get in contact with me. I try fixes out for them. I try and debug stuff for them. We work together to try and make the printers better for everybody. So it works both ways. Like I say, I get a printer, but it's not all roses. There's a lot of hard work involved in it as well. You know, when you're getting 5 or 6 emails and text messages at 3 o'clock in the morning from China because they want me to check something. You know, I wake up at half 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and start work. Do I have any FlashForge? I don't know. I've never got on that bandwagon. But if FlashForge wants to send me one, I will showcase it for everybody. I'll put it out there for them. But at the moment, no, I've not got any FlashForge machines. There's 1 or 2 machines I would love to get a closer look at. And maybe one day things will change and I'll be able to look at them. But FlashForge, not one I've been looking at. That's nice of you to say, Pete. Thanks, I appreciate that. I do try. I try to help everybody, not just the companies. I mean, alright, it's free advertising. Well, it's not free advertising. They've had to ship this over to me. It's not free, but, you know, I like it to work both ways. It's not me grabbing hundreds of printers and not giving anything back. It's about sharing my opinions with you guys. And anybody that knows me knows I'm going to be honest about it. If I don't like something, I'll tell you and I'll tell them. And I'm sure I'll find some issues with this once I start building it. Like I say, there's the gap around the SD card slot, which I think is going to be a ball ache. But hopefully we can get around that. But yeah, that's about it, guys. It's Thursday night. It's now 9:27, so I have been on nearly an hour and a half, which is about where I wanted to be with it. So like I say, in the comments section of the video when it goes up for you to watch back, if you want to stick something in there you want to see from this machine or any of my other machines. Stephen, you got a business idea for you guys in the UK? That sounds scary. Business, that means money. So yeah, put it in the description or you can contact me. All my details are on my YouTube homepage. If you just click on the about, there's an address if you want to send things to me. There's all sorts of, you know, there's ways of contacting me. You can contact me through Twitter, you can contact me through Facebook. I think there's even an email address if you want to just email info@mat1uk3dp.co.uk, which is that bit at the top of the screen up there. That will get to me. There's lots of ways of getting in contact with me. You want any questions answered, anything at all, I'll try my very best to help. Don't forget to like the video. We've only got 11 likes and we've got 15 people watching at the moment. So a few more likes if you don't mind. That always helps. That helps my analytics. I've got a dislike. I always get one dislike at least while I'm on air. And I don't know who it is, but thanks for the interaction anyway. If you'd like to support the channel, yes, I do get my printers for nothing, but everything else I have to pay for out of my own pocket. You can help me. I have a Patreon. I have 2 Patreons, both of which are in the room at the moment. Thanks, guys. You can leave me a one-time donation through Streamlabs. You can. There's all the usual ways. You know how it is. Don't feel you have to. You know, by no means I'm getting by, you know. I've got enough gear to keep me going now, but, you know, if you feel like you want to, it's available there. You can see the people scrolling across the bottom of the screen that, you know, do stuff. Now, Pete, steady. Don't spell cat like that. You've got too many A's in it. Yeah, anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you need to speak to me, hit me up on social media or check out the link on my YouTube page to get in contact with me. I will see you all real soon. Thanks very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. love, peace, happiness, joy, fun. How do I turn the stream off? Oh, I'll have to do my outro, won't I? Just to deafen everybody. Those that haven't heard this before, cover your ears now. Those that have heard it before, turn your volume down. I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra, guys.